All right, my friends, we are back to the famous dojo. This is the Dojo Training Program, and it's been a lot of graduates that we covered yesterday, and we have a bunch more to cover today, dude. It was maybe a record for graduates this week. We had 38 graduations. That's quite a bit. So I'm going to get as far as I can get. And let's see here. Did I do YOLO chess? Yeah, I did YOLO. I'm pretty sure I did Hail Bow. Did I do Wheat Belly? Oh, man. So many. So many. Yeah, we did Wheat Belly. And then I think we did Crow's If. Yeah, we did that. Did we do Andrew, the famous Andrew Rimmer? I think this is where we stopped. I know we didn't do Ambush, the famous Ambush. So we're going to start from Andrew. Ambush says Andrew Rimmer is up. Great. Oh, man. So Ambush says, make a worse training program, get fewer graduates to review. That's right. That's right. Okay. So we have Andrew here. Ba-boom. Andrew has graduated many times. He's from the UK. I'm going to guess he's not logging his stuff too religiously. You can see in May and June he was really going for it. He, I think, probably graduated technically. No, he's ready to know. What am I saying? 1385. He is almost there again using ye old Lichess Classical. Looking good. He's got a FIDE of 1640. Whoa, so his FIDE is way up, dude. His FIDE is way up there compared to his Lichess. But maybe he hasn't played too much. Part of several cool clubs. He's getting close to being that 50-plus club. Getting close to the 50-plus club. So, this is beautiful. We have several OTB games. So this looks great. Did he say? Yeah, highlight of the year was my first OTB. And right, he played several points, 100 points above his level. I'm assuming that's how he got his amazing FIDE rating. He's going to stick to the plan and put in the sweat work. Okay, this is great. All right, let's click this guy, Jerry. All right, no times. Now, of course, I say this every time. It's difficult to write in your own times, but it's very possible to do. We'll go game review style here. And fine. And, oh, wait, Kraai, wait. This happens every show. It's a good thing I have that other board open, or I would just, other window, or I would just go along and not see anything. So, this move, Bishop G4, might be incredibly clever. So, I have a system against the Dutch where it goes D4, F5, Bishop G5. It's very hard for Black to play against. And so Bishop G4 might be a genius move. I mean, you have to ask yourself, how important is B3 in this Bishop G4 setup? Okay, at this point, I would advise, however, taking that thing. Take that thing on F3. Okay. Now, your opponent here with this move is giving you the option of playing E5. Oh, you should do it. You should play it. This is where it would help to have some timestamps in here. I don't like that. So, yeah, I don't understand what we're doing. So he wants to play E5, but now he's going to make a big positional concession. So it's funny, he could have done E5 earlier, but now he's doing it this way. All right, his opponent should definitely take it. Now, one of the things we should say about this E5 move is that it's important to see that his opponent doesn't understand this, but the whole point of Federico the F-pawn is to develop the rook, right? And here we would exchange a side pawn for a center pawn, and I would say this is an interesting position. I don't know who I like better yet. I have to think about it a little bit. But this is a very interesting position, and the rook is, what White's claim is the rook is now developed. Okay? So, poor move, loss of time. Something I'll repeat that I said yesterday is that at this level of your chess development, so you're past, let's say, 1250 chess.com 1000 dojo, is that your opponents won't hang pieces, but they will hang time. So here he's giving you a tempo of G3. You hung a full tempo because you could have, well, several tempi because you could have gotten E5 in earlier. Reasonable move. I think E4 is a fine move as well, but okay. Why are we taking? Why are we taking? Now, he blunders, EF4. No, if you're going to play this way, White, you play GF4. That was the whole reason you did G3, buddy. Castle's long. Oh, my God. Okay, I can get behind this. By this, I mean castling long. Okay, White has to fix his knight and bishop because the knight needed to move out of the way. So this is a little awkward, but I understand what he's doing. You try to body slam him right away. I like it. Knight e4, h4, very nice move. Simple and strong. We're going to develop our rook on h8. Snip, snap. Beautiful. And now you have bishop f4 in the notes. Now, what we should say is, this would be a great time to see how long you thought, because you talk about how you agonize over bishop f4. I guess the really clever thing about bishop f4 is not just the mate threats, but that now the knight has to discombobulate itself. So you have this knight e7, you just have a different move order. We're going to put the king somewhere. And he's kind of hosed, like the knight is hosed, right? And in your notes, you have some other weird stuff in here. Rook f2, rook h7. Anyways, but here the point is, White doesn't have to play bishop g2. And the way I think to conceptualize this is to say, I'm winning because the knight is dumb. The knight on e7. That's why I'm winning this thing. You probably have other moves than this too. Okay, rook h7, you're still doing great. Rook e8, does that help you? I don't know. If I was him, I would think about queen g2. He goes f2. Yeah, this just helps. Oh, and he traded off his bishop. Oh, you can't play that way, son. You can't play that way, son. You can't give away your bishop. All right. Check. Reasonable. You might have other ideas. Simple. Simple. That's not going to help. What is he doing? Nobody knows. Check, 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 mate. Beautiful. So he became positionally lost when he played first queen f2 and then bishop e takes e4. Very nice victory. And one thing I would say about this game is that when I did this course, Time to Do What? Or they called it Mastering Time in Chess. it was all about dojo positions like this, where the guy gave his person time. And sometimes there's a strategic way to punish them. Sometimes there's a tactical way. And I loved the H5, H4 developing your piece. That was great. And your opponent just did not understand time. And it only gave you 1,000 tempi. Okay, so well done, Andrew. That was good. I think you're going to continue to go up. Next up, we have Ambush. Ambush is in the chat. Ambush says, my 4th graduation in the past calendar year and another quickie. I went 4.5 out of 6 in the last Tuesday night marathon at the mechanics, and that was enough. I honestly did not have gained 450 points on my 2025 bingo card, but here we are. I think playing and analyzing, listen to what he's saying, my friends. My weekly 90 plus 30 OTB continues to be key, as does the community of stronger players who I go to the bar with after the round to talk shop. As Ben Johnson says, community is one of the pillars. Those higher rated friends better watch out, because I'm not eligible to play up in their under 2,000 section. Be careful who you mentor. Notes for Jesse. It's pronounced Rakshasa, like Picasso. Wait, how is Rakshasa similar sound as Picasso? But just the ambush is always fine. I think I'm going to go with the ambush. All right, I created the Mechanics Club as you asked. Thank you very much. If you want to see my heat map colors switch from hours to points. Okay, please review the most recent game versus Soham. Will do. Okay, let's go over here. So we're going to switch this hours to points. Oh, there we go. That's pretty cool. That's something I maybe should do with several people. There we go. So if somebody isn't logging their time, you can go to Dojo Points. Yeah. So this looks great. And one of the cool things you can see about his map is that he's here at his Tuesdays, where he plays in his Tuesday tournament, and he's been pretty religious about it. And just very simple pattern. Play, analyze. Play, analyze. Look at this staircase he's got going on. That's a beautiful thing. Tone and Anton, thank you very much for saying so. Yeah. I hope you join us also in February. Yeah. Okay, great. You can also see that the ambush, has got 1382 and FIDE, and that's a very promising start. Well, 1641, normalized 1382. And honestly, like I've said before, I think when we redo our calibration, so after like the FIDE points maybe have settled a little bit after the big change, that this disparity won't be quite as big. I mean, we'll have to see. We'll have to do the math. Okay, so he told me a game. There it is. He's the one remember, I know there's other people in there. Pruess if nobody else. Me, actually, hold on. I get to join this club because I played for that team. So boom, I'm joining the club, buddy. All right. So, games. My games. And there it is, Soham. Let me just double check. That's what he said. Yeah. So we'll check out this game with Soham. Do we got times? We do. So my friends, look what he did. He did the times manually. Amazing. This is 90 plus 30, so he's not going to run out of time. Beautiful time graph. Looks like we're in a known opening till about move 11, and then we get some good thinking. Did his opponent run out of gas at move 23? We'll see. We'll see. All right, let's go game review. So. That's the man's opening. Good. Good. So now he quickly plays knight bd2. I think this, by the way, I remember, I don't know what the computer says these days, but back in the day, I looked at this and I did not like it for white. I thought it was very dangerous. G3 is the main move, but all right, knight bd2. And now the ambush quickly plays knight e7. Maybe this is part of some book thing. I guess it makes sense to me. Good. And here, I guess there's an expected line that they got going on. To me, this looks fine for black. Totally fine for black. Okay, he calls this the main tabia. Okay, so he's had this before. All right, here we go. Check to the miserable king. And he has an idea of playing f6 or something. Now, one of the things about this position I find, or yeah, the course of this that I find interesting is it's let's just break it down. We're at a level of 1300 dojo here, Tuesday Night Mechanics. They know who their opponents are, and then he's actually gonna like look at Ambush's games and try to find some dirty tricks against him using the computer. Right? So that's already just an interesting thing in itself. But next, it's also interesting is if I was just to look at this position myself, I'm not sure I would say that white has the advantage. You know, if you want to tell me the computer says white has an advantage, it's not like I'm going to fight you. I'm just saying with my own eyes, I don't know why white has such a special position. Okay, so he plays here. Okay, castles. Good. And now knight h4. Good. Bishop d2. So knight f3 does look wrong. And you talk about knight c6 and f6. Good move. That's what I was thinking anyway. Yeah. Now, I guess one of the interesting questions is when did you think about the idea of f6? Because f6, some people might have a problem playing it because you could say to yourself, well, I don't want to play f6 because then these pawns aren't doubled anymore, right? Yeah. Okay. So, boom. Gf3. F6. And now I'll definitely say I think white's better. Okay, white's a little bit better. Bishop b4, and now bishop h4. It doesn't make any sense to me, bishop h4. Because the bishop's good where it stands, and the king maybe is slightly annoyed on f2. And you thought 17 minutes here, bro. Or 18 minutes. Dang. All right, king e2. Rook e8. It's a bummer your rook has to go away from the f file. Bishop e4. Okay, maybe that's an okay move. Just go back. Now, I would have thought about c6 because bishop d5, maybe it doesn't, maybe it's not that big of a deal. Okay. So he now thinks forever and plays rook 81. And it also would have prevented this knight b5 stuff to play c6 directly. All right, so rook 81. And now you snip him. Nice move. He clearly missed that. Check to the miserable king. And now, what should he do? He decides for the ambitious move, knight f3. If he plays king let's say d3, I think he can still argue that he's got a little something something. Right? Okay, so knight f3 is the ambitious move. How does he intend, though? How does he intend to break the pin? I don't know. All right, so he totally blew that one. He totally blew that one. And now you play bishop f3. Okay, so the real crime of bishop f3 that we want to talk about is that you never take a pinned piece. You never take a pinned piece. That's what they told you in school, Ambush. That was one of the main lessons that they had for you in elementary school. They said, never take the pinned piece. All right, so yeah, you could do a variety of different things that aren't taking the pinned piece. Let him squirm. All right, so what this is, in addition to breaking the rule of taking a pinned piece, is you are uncomfortable with the tension and you are greedy with getting your exchange back. But clearly there was no rush, right? So that's a psychological need that you're trying to deal with. Okay, so what's the situation here? It's an interesting position. There's no reason to think, though, that white isn't okay. And now you go for it, bishop e7. Well, before we get too down on you here, I think if you want to go for it, you got to do something like bishop e7. The other way you could go for it, I guess, is just play king f7. If you want to play on, right? All right, so here we go. Good. I don't know about king f4. f6. I don't think we need to stop e5. Like, why aren't we playing king e6? And then we'll make him wonder about rook f7. Also, control this when we want to. So he was obsessed with this. I'm not sure that the pawn going forward was a help to him. Also not sure there. Check, good. And now you play for it with g5. Okay, so notice white didn't understand what he was doing. Rook g7. I like it, I think. Rook f8. And yeah, you should just push, bro. Also another thing they told you. They said passed pawns must be pushed. That's what they said, Ambush. I promise you that's what they said. Uh-oh. And now the milk has gone bad, right? And now we're toast. King e2 doesn't look right to me. Normally we would, I mean, it's probably winning no matter what. So we'll leave it at that for a second. And now he blundered it big time with e4. Now, what we definitely want from your analysis, though, is we want you to tell us where you think, how black could have, white could have won this thing. Right? So maybe starting here. How does white win? It's hard to argue with c5, honestly, right? That looks pretty good. Yeah, he's going to have tons of tempi. He's going to have tons of tempi to blow, like 1, 2. Yeah, we're gonna get cooked there. But in any case, that's something for you to have done there. Nice move. Great. Thank you very much. And now we do a little dance of draw. Okay, that was pretty good, man. That was pretty good. I think the main mistake that I want you to think about, right? There's a couple, but the main one was when you took on F3, because there you're relieving the tension. And you will see that a lot of players around your level will do the exact same thing. So understanding that mistake from a psychological point of view, you'll when you see it in other people, you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that, right? Okay. Well done, Ambush. Well done. Well, now we have another famous person here, Chenid. He says, happy to be moving up. Excuse me, let me go back to this one. It's been a year of organizing rather than playing. My new club is doing great and we're growing strong, but I've rediscovered a love for the game's intricacies and hope to put in the hours over winter. First off, tackling the analysis backlog, then some tournaments in the spring. Let's see where we go from here. Okay. This is the famous Chenid. Walthamstow Chess Club guy. Oh, let's click on this dude a little bit. Here's his heat map. Here's his amazing clubs over here. But wait a second, Chenid. Well, that's why I wanted to ask. Why don't we have a Walthamstow Dojo Club? That's what we need. And now I'm going to go look, because I'm that guy. And I'm going to go look up Walthamstow. I know you probably, in England, you probably pronounce it Wallamshoe. Wallamshoe or some stuff like that, dude. Because you guys never pronounce the... I know how it is. I know how it is. Okay, so that's like a suburb of London. Yeah, dude. You got to do your... We got to get a Walthamstow club. That would be cool. All right, let's go look at some games. And here we have a game that is pretty recent at OTB. So that's a cool thing. So, logging in the memory bank. That's right, Ambush. First, Chenid, do we have a time graph? No, we don't. No. All right, so let's go game review. Okay, so far. Selecki calls this a naive placement. So, you know, it's funny. I think that's definitely like an old school view. How bad it is, I don't know. I don't know actually how bad it is. It is a developing move after all. And funnily enough, I had a mildly similar position, which went, I was black, and I did get rolled with this Queen B3, C5 thing against GM Alexei Kashian. I don't think it was the exact position, but it was the same dynamic where I'm losing a stupid tempo because I was like, C5 ain't much, and then it turned into something, and I didn't like it. So C5 now doesn't look right. B4, ambitious. And now bishop f4. DM Hokie, thank you for subscribing, my friend. DM Hokie is one of the founders of the dojo. And you never know when he's lurking. You never know it. I want to say with bishop f4, I don't know. It's an interesting move. I'm not sure I disagree with bishop f4. He goes knight e4, maybe. And now you did rook c1. To me, the most natural move here would be queen b3. Right? With bishop f4, you're just saying, I'm going to stick it there. I want my pawn on f4, yada, yada. h6. So what's the problem? He's giving you time. Knight d2. Why can't we just castle? Why can't we just castle, bruv? All right, knight c3. I don't know if that was necessary. That knight f2 thing seems weird to me. Maybe, I don't get it. All right, so now we get this business. Queen f6. And now you played e3, which honestly looks very natural. So it's hard to argue too much with e3. And now he smacks you with g5. Okay, good move. F takes, h takes. Now, let me just say something here. I think we were talking in the last game about tension. And in this position, granted, rook c1 was probably weird. Queen b3 better. But here, notice that with knight d2, you're scratching at this itch. You're like, I can't take it. That you're inside my coconuts or whatever right there. You know? So you got to play queen b3 or castle's developing move. There's no need to scratch at that itch. He's got e4. Let him have it. All right, here we go. And I thought he played that well. So that was high level strategy. Maybe queen f3. I'm not sure I get it. And then this is definitely a poor move because it's allowing you to get to those dark squares, right? And now you take, and right, you have to just hold the line. Now, I think you said it well. Why invite more of black's pieces into the game? And the thing to just focus on for a second is this knight, he ain't doing nothing. He's dominated by these 2 pawns. But the second you take it, oh no, then he's a beast. And right, fail, queen takes e5. Now we say thank you, and king e2. So now we have ourselves an interesting endgame position. E castles. Maybe king e7. And now, again, a weird move with f4. And yeah, just a simple knight b3 to d4. I don't know. Interesting position. Yeah. Okay, so the engine finds d4. He's also better after gf, though. That's the other weird thing about your decision. Okay. King f2 feels more natural to me. Okay. Why aren't we playing knight d4? Good. Good. Now, maybe he should have played rook h8 on one of the previous moves. I should say that. And now you go for it, a4. But you could just play b5. You could just play b5. And not only that, but if you play b5 now, you retain the option of rook a3. Okay, I don't know about a6, and of course you should play b5. Okay. Snip. Rook b6. Good move. You're active. Good. Rook d6. Check the miserable king. A little weird to me that we don't go to d3, but okay. Snip. Snip. And he offers a draw and you declined. Thinking my king will soon get active and I'll soon pick up one of these kingside pawns. Very hard to evaluate. I think what we should say is instead of saying anything about what the engine says is like you played on. You played on in a murky position. And that's a good thing in itself, that you had the coconuts to play on. Also, I like the fact that you believed you were better. Right here you say you're clearly better. And I like that you kept that when later the engine told you that it was actually level. That's good. That's good annotation. F1. That one I don't like. So in general, you never want to cut your king off like this, right? So king d3 should be automatic. He's not running the g pawn that fast. Poor move, letting your king out. Rook e1. All right, king f2. All right, and now you play rook d7. It's going to be a very tight dynamic here. I don't understand king d5. So, just off the top of my head, I don't know why there's a huge difference here, but it makes sense that black should be okay with one of those moves. Let's see what's wrong with rook c5. Okay, that does make sense to me. So the point is that when we take with the rook, we lose the ability, black loses the ability to come back around and mess with him over there. Okay. So king d5, no one knows. By the way, Channing, this would be a great momentito for you to have put in the times, right? Are we in big time pressure? What's going on? Yada, yada. Snip, snap. Now you're winning. King e4. That doesn't make any sense to me. And rook a3 looks very reasonable. That might be a good move. This is a known winning endgame. And f5. Good move. Rook e6 looks simple to me. He takes like a fish, bang, and he gets got. Janet, that was great, dude. That was a very good annotation. That was a very good annotation. You know, we published this book, How to Analyze Your Games, and we collected loads of great annotations. If we were doing that again, and I want to do a future edition of that book, I would definitely include this. And, you know, every time I get a technical idea, I'm like, Jack, can you arrange this for me? But anyways, let me just write it down anyway. So I want a way to mark great annotations. That way we can be ready for the book. You know, if I just do this graduation show all the time, find some great annotations, they all go into some file somewhere, and then we publish the book. It's that easy. It's that easy. All right, I got to take a little potty break because I'm an old man and I have the bladder of a peanut. I'll be right back. Oh, we got so many. Now, Fernando. What's going on, Fernando? Okay, now I am training with the dojo. Has he got any clubs? Nothing. I think he's new. So thankfully, we have no games. Now, of course, it's not thankfully for him. It's just thankfully for me. I need a break. I need a break, man. All right. SB is in the chat, and he's also here. All right. So, SB says, 25 was a paradoxical year for me. I had the most fun with chess I'd ever had by playing more OTB events. However, I didn't really improve in any meaningful way. My aim for 26 is to play more OTB so that I'm having the most fun with chess and also working harder to improve with a dojo. I've signed up with a club that plays weekly rated 90 plus 30, great, and I'm looking forward to having sustained OTB opportunities and leaning into the dojo program with more games and more analysis. Beautiful. This is my moment to pitch SB on this amazing new thing that we've got going on. And SB did a similar thing with me earlier, and that's this live classes business over here. Oh man, it's amazing. I think SB would really like it. So what we do is the peers meet with their own group meeting. They talk about who's ever up that week. Let's say SB was up. They would look at his training, look at some of his annotations, and then they would meet with me after. It's a great way to be held accountable. It's a great way to force yourself to do the annotations, to have help with the annotations, and to see what other people at your level, the kind of troubles and tribulations they have. And those trials and tribulations are in general going to be very close to the ones you have. And a lot of these groups have been really cool, especially I'm doing this one, which is under 1,000, a really cool group of people, very supportive, all that. Okay, so SB, your training looks good. Let's pop that out. He likes to study chess in the winter because he's up there in Canada. And in the summer, it's just like he's so happy that there's a little sunshine. He's like, I'm not doing any chess, Jesse. I'm not doing any chess, but it gets cold again. Then I'll do it. Okay, so we're going to do a game here. And he had a new job in the summer, understand. And we're going to look at Screamar here. There he is. So 1464. Do we got times? We do. Very nice. Okay. So let's go game review. All right, let's get into it. So this is my repertoire, Dojo aggressive repertoire for white. One thing I saw is that this game was short, and one thing about the aggressive repertoire is there's going to be shorter games. Not like all the games are going to be short, but like the moment of crisis is often coming fairly quickly. Okay, I would say there's 1,000 different ways for black to play, but this one you should welcome because it's very easy now to understand. We are going to put our pawn on f4. We're going to put our knight on f3. We're going to put our pawn on d3. When we're ready, we're going to take this. It's very impossible for him not to prevent it now, too. And the point is that that's our bad bishop, actually. See, pawns are going to be on light squares. We're going to look to f5. We're going to mate him. Pawns are pointing this way. All right, that's our general plan. Good. 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 And now queen e1. You mentioned bishop takes in e5. I like that less. If I was going to talk about a different option, it might be to play f5 directly. But your move, queen e1, makes a lot of sense. Now he does this. Okay. So what we want to say about this is that he's losing a tempo. And if there's a grief for us, it's that our pawn on c2 is going to be maybe a victim. So, knight d4, pawn takes, bishop takes, queen takes, knight e2. I think that's the main question right there. Now, could he then castle? Well, why can't we take the pawn? Is there a trick? I don't see it yet. Definitely we should say that we're happy to see e5 because what's the dream of Federico? The dream of Federico is to open this rook. And not only do you have a nice position after fe, but f5 is a hell of a drug too. That's a big one right there. Hello. Hello, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so this one seems weird, bishop d7. But he does not play knight d7, which maybe he should have. Plays queen d7 instead. And now you could transpose to your last line with knight takes d4. Instead, you think 12 minutes and go for it big time with queen h4. Now, it is an interesting move, SB. I think you are going to get very interesting compensation. And in my course, I know that there's some lines actually like this where we give him the pawn on c2. All right, here we go. Boom, boom, boom. And now you play e5. again, I think intuitively our move here should be f5. Right? f5 should be our move. Yeah, f5. Let me just put it to you this way. I have no idea what the true evaluation is, but I know that f5 is the move. We got to get the bishop out. We got to get our rook activated. Okay. So, e5, you thought for 6 minutes. Snip. Now, if I was black, I would have preferred, if I could, to not snip. Because when he snips, he's going to activate your bishop and the rook. So was it possible for him to play this? Probably. That would be, let's call it the thematic move. 11, thank you so much. So here we go. Takes. Knight g4, I don't know. That's frisky. That's frisky, knight g4. You talk about bishop f4, and your move e6, I mean, it's well-intentioned. It's well-intentioned. Let's look at it. Boom, 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 boom. And now you play rook f7. And you say, my attack is compromised because my dark square bishop and b1 rook are not in play. A great annotation. Now, for what it's worth, rook f7 is, of course, the move I'd like to play. There's some things, there's some open questions about it, but that's the move I want to play. All right, boom. Now, what's the issue here? Of course, it's the rook and stuff, but if we don't have rook f7, let's just say it's our play with e6 doesn't make any sense. Right? Okay, he thinks for 22 minutes. Now, for those of you who are lower rated, I just want to stress this is what chess is. Right? A lot of lower rated players are playing their moves instantly. These guys are thinking for 22 minutes, and they're right to. This could all go wrong. It could all go wrong so fast. Okay, so he now analyzes rook g7, which is my first question. And the point is, after queen d4, king f1, it looks suicidal. But maybe it's not completely ridiculous. All right, so let's just talk Turkey. We are up a minor piece. It looks like we're getting mated, but the second he takes our rook, we take his knight. If he checks us, we go back. Right? I love your analysis here. It looks like you're not doing it with the computer, which is really, really good. I can't stress enough how good that is. Right? Because this is the kind of position you really want to be able to analyze with your own eyes. So, and you talk about both of these ending up as a mess. Whew. Yeah, it's pretty messy. It's pretty messy. Now, yeah. Wow. I mean, maybe black's just in big trouble. I don't know. To me, it looks like black's in big trouble in this one. And I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, but I'm pretty sure I'd rather be white because he can't castle long. If he could castle long, that'd be maybe a different thing. Now, I don't know how to evaluate the position here. Oh my God, black has other moves to do too. Maybe castles long here, just like a maniac. I don't know. There's a lot of questions. Castles long, maybe you can play knight e6. I don't think so, actually. Knight e6, rook f8. So, it's still hot. It's still hot. Now, you did well to think for 16 minutes here. Trying to cover your booty, as they say. And he just calmly says, you know what? I need to bring my pieces in. Very good play for a 1400. Oh my gosh. And now knight f3. You basically, he's messing with you with that bishop. You got to take the thing, man. That thing's got to go. It's got to go. He says check. And now it's a real bummer here. King f1. Knight c1. Yeah, and he's wrecking you the old-fashioned way. Rook e7, knight e3, king f2, knight f5, and we're done. Okay. So, great annotation. I think some of the things I would want you to see is that you're going to get this position quite a bit, something like this. Okay? And you're absolutely right that you can, if you want, play bishop c6 first. But the thing to realize is your intuition with letting him take on c2 wasn't horrendous, right? Your intuition with e5 I didn't like as much. And then later, dude, with this massive position with rook takes g7 where it's incredibly complicated, that's the kind of position you should say, okay, I know it's crazy, but I was the one who played the aggressive repertoire. I was the one who led us into this dark forest. And instead, you just started pulling all your guys back, right? Yeah. So great annotation, really good. I like that you did it without the computer. The computer, by the way, it would really mess with you in a lot of ways too, because, for example, it might turn out that there is some refutation to rook g7. Maybe there is, right? But if you can't find it in your analysis, then that's what you should have played, right? So imagine, let's say you look at the computer and then you say, I guess it doesn't work. You know, I don't see it. I don't. This is a great position, and this is totally what an aggressive repertoire game can look like with this rook takes g7 move. Somebody asked, first time chat, should we verify with the computer? Now you can, and we actually had a previous annotation that was very well done, where he then, that he doesn't change his initial impressions. Like there was one great position we just looked at where he said white's better, and then later the computer's like, no, it's actually equal, but he just left his better because that was his human take. But it's clear, obviously the computer thinks otherwise. Okay, great, well done. So in short, SB can look at it with the computer now if he wants. Okay, but the main takeaways are going to be his own analysis. And maybe also just the feel for the position, right? When I'm talking about F5, I mean you play F5, son. That's why we want F5. Okay, good. That was great. Let's go on. Next up, we got GP. He's graduated a bunch too. And he says, I haven't been able to study much during the holiday season, me too, due to the quality family time and family events and the demands by my wife. Now going into the new year, I think a graduation was in need. Looking forward to get back on the grind and crank out better and consistent study habits. All right, here's GP. My name is Gary, but many of my friends call me GB. Okay, great. He's playing at the Marshall Sum, Tri-State area. Current peak of 1520 USCF. Beautiful. He's got a young son. Oh, no. Let's give GP a follow. All right, so he's up there with the USCF. Definite progress here. And his ChessCom is of a similar rating. I think this is great. Clubs, New York City, great. Do we got some games? We got loads. This is a recent game he played against Reginald. All right, do we got times? We don't. I won't give my speech, though. So, all right. Game was played a month before annotations. That's a good move. Good move. Good move. Weird. Okay. So, C6 seems unnecessary, but okay. Boom, 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 boom. Rook E8. Okay. Okay, so here what we really want to do is you're talking about the French, like being susceptible to Greek gifts. The Greek gift really needs a pawn on e5. Here, bishop h7 is not going to work. He might get an attack over there, but he's not going to work in any significant way. This is what we call an isolated queen pawn. And if we just think about the Tempe situation, his queen lost a tempo on a4, and your move c6 isn't unreasonable because it's dealing with the blockade square, right? So control of this square is going to be key for our play. Now, why my rook e8 I'm not 100% with, because we need to develop this bishop. And at the moment, I don't really see another square for it other than e6. If we're going to put it on e6, then we just are blocking our rook, right? So I think bishop e6 followed by knight d7 looks more natural to me. All right, rook e8, bishop e6, right? a3. And a3 is actually a very good move. I am with your initial impression, though, of saying, hey, this looks like a waste of time. But the truth is that in these IQP positions, a3 is always a good move because it's taking away this square, which will be important because he wants to weaken you with queen c2 coming up. Knight e7, good move. And now you played h6. This is actually a big debate. There's strong arguments for g6 here. All right, h6. Knight e5. I don't know about knight e5. I'm not going to go in depth for white here, but I will just say this is a very hot position where we can analyze a lot for what we think white should be doing, right? So you consider taking and other things. What is he going to do to you if you play like queen b6? Has he got something? I don't know. Maybe he can play. I don't know. It seems like your position's fine after queen b6. Knight f8 is weird. Right, so now you're kind of moving around and around. I like bishop e3 better than knight e2. Rook c8, I don't like it. Probably a reasonable move. Queen d4. Well, yeah, he gave you the pawn. A little weird not to play rook fe1. Spicy chess is happening here. Rook cd8. We got a lot of questions. So one of the things I would ask from the annotation is to give me more variations. Yourself, really, because there's all kinds of moves here. Like you could consider knight d5. Is some terrible thing going to happen to you? I don't know. That's what you should look for. He takes. I don't know about that move. No, I don't think he has a plan. And now you went for it with knight d5 here. And now he finds a great move. Here, look at this. Whack, whack, whack. Oh, very nice. Very impressive. Very impressive. Dang. I think we're done for. Yeah. There's a great book that is not for you, GP, but I'll just mention it just to make a point. What is it called again? It is called... Jesse, can you remember the names of the books you've read? That was very disappointing. As in very disappointing. Because where's my book? It's by Sakis. And Advanced Chess Tactics, 2011. An amazing book, and why am I going out of my way to mention it? Because he's got an amazing chapter on IQP positions and the dynamics of the attacking potentials that the person with the IQP has. And what you saw here was your first taste of it. You got your first taste of the things that can go down, how it can all fall apart. And one of the things to say is that you just didn't have a feel for these positions. Like you thought this was a waste of time. And then you didn't know what to do, right? Like rook e8, and then you knight f8, knight f6, all this stuff. So just in general, you want to blockade the square. You want to trade pieces, right? And this is what we call a dynamic weakness. Also, if you take on c3, will also be a dynamic weakness, the hanging pawns, right? Very interesting and fun position. Okay, well done. And we'll continue here with counsel. I held off graduating for a couple of weeks to focus on rebalancing my training approach more toward non-opening work as suggested by Jesse when giving feedback on one of my matches. I have worked harder on tactics, even though it makes an old man's head hurt sometimes. Sadly, because I was part of the Xmas Day graduation list, I don't believe that my match against Paul Bealby, which led to my ratings increase to 1748, was reviewed. Anyway, since then I have played a couple more matches in the Open Classical. Would you please review one of the last 2 matches from that folder? Looking forward to getting stuck into my shiny new copy of Reassess Your Chess and Kappa's Best Endings. So I did eventually do that graduation show. I want to say that you might find it there. I think I even vaguely remember the name Bealby. So hopefully that got done. Apologies for that. I myself had a whole Christmas fandango going on, so I didn't get to stick to the regular schedule. Council, it is amazing that you're getting way up here, 1619. This is great, too. You're just gaining a lot of points. It's a beautiful thing. And I think you were using one of these before and switched to ECF, which I think is great. Okay. So clubs, he's in the 50 plus. Yes, sir. All right. Games. Boom. Oh, my God. No, I do remember this. I do remember this because I was like, oh, where do I go here? I definitely remember that part of it. All right. So I did do the Bealby thing, and I don't know where to go now. Oh, let's see here. Oh, it's so confusing. The My Games thing should be all of your games in one place. This is not all of your games in one place. This is just me all over the place. It's me all over the place is what this is. All right, these are not, this is just, maybe that was just a placeholder for you to do it later. I remember this. I was like clicking through here. All right, this is a new one. All right, do we got times? Oh, we can do the times, my friend. We'll mark it as reviewed. We'll go game review. We'll take a look at this one. Good. A little weird. This is called the Schmidt-Benoni, though, and I think it's actually sometimes very hard to deal with. I think this is a mistake. Bishop b5. And that's definitely a mistake because now in the Benoni structures, it's a huge thing for black to pull off a6, b5, also to trade pieces, so either way it's looking good for him. Black didn't get it. Still doesn't get it. Once he should be playing b5. Ooh, and this is a mistake. So what's the point? You need to play a4, but you must prevent b5. So, and this is also a mistake from the perspective that you need to be able to win the e5 square. I don't think you're going to win the e5 square. And what's cool actually about the variation you give is even though I'm not necessarily convinced that this is a clear advantage for black, it is true that that dark square bishop is your best piece because of these pawns being on the wrong square. All right, so queen c7, f5, good move. b5, and now talked earlier about the idea of giving up the tension, and definitely FG is a move which gives up the tension. There's no rush. There's absolutely no rush to play FG. He goes here, puts the rook here. Okay. Right. I'm not sure I get it. Queen e3. And now bishop g4 is certainly a weird move. It's also positionally poor because in general, he shouldn't be trying to trade off that bishop. That's his good bishop. Okay. By the way, the thing he should now be looking for is some way to make bishop b6 happen. That's the thing he should be trying to make work. All right, this is where also it would be great if we had times, clock times, to see if you just instantly played this or if you thought about it. Good. Don't give up. Don't trade that one. Good. I'm not sure I understand. And this, we need more annotation. There's a lot of things happening in this series of moves. It's nothing obvious is happening here. Could you have played knight f5 here? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. It just scares the bejeezles out of me, though. You know, there's some bejeezle scaring going on right there. All right. So knight e2, and then he gets us, and we're toast. Okay. Well, there it is there for counsel. And we did look at your thing. You just have to find it. If you go to Twitch, I've been working on this day and night, trying to recap everything. Okay. Beautiful. Let's go back grad show. And we got Linkadink. We got Linkadink. Oh, don't call him Linkadink, bud. Linkadink says, I'm going to graduate based on my rapid rating to keep things moving and study the new material. I'll be getting back to OTB chess soon and working on bringing my OTB up to the same level, okay? So, we've covered Linkadink before. And he is doing well. FIDE and USCF lower. No, my games. He's got loads of games. Not only is this the biggest graduation, but also the graduation with the most games for me to cover. Okay, I love it, your time graph. Your time graph is amazing. Did your opponent peter out here? Let's actually leave this window open. And we'll try to just keep track of the times here because it seemed like an interesting. I'd like to believe that you won because of time. You used it better anyway. So this is the old school way to play. Fine. Fine. Poor. Yeah. So your opponent here, see, playing the Najdorf, but doesn't actually know what the ideas are. And so not only do you get f5 in with the glory to your soul, but the knight doesn't really belong on c6. It belongs on d7. And you're right. Queen c7 is correct. Good move. Now, I think you're strategically winning. Bishop g5. I'm okay with this. Castles, I'm sure you're also fine. Thank you very much. And we've won the battle of the d5 square. Now, it is very strange to me that we're not just castling here. Engine likes knight d2. That's highfalutin. Why aren't we just castling? Just castle. Just castle. h4. What? Interesting. I don't like b5 at all. Gives you d5 with tempo. Okay. So The problem with h4 is it gives black the opportunity, and I don't know if he has anything special, but it gives him the opportunity to at least try to come up with something to mess with you. Whereas castles, you're still playing for the d5 square. You still have all your advantages. All right. So good, poor, good, good. I don't understand. Good. And now g3, and you like it. Okay, I'm sure you have a nice position, but why are we playing queen g3? Right? I mean, you're doing great. All right. Boom. Castle. Okay. Now, bishop f6 is weird, but it is time for you to find a plan. I don't know what c3 does. I guess he's saying, I got 1,000 tempi. I can go around and around. b3. You know, I do want to give you props. You are following a positional template, a tried and true one, that makes sense. You want to put the knight on d5. Good. Good. Now he is in trouble, so we understand. Good. Is he lost? It looks bad in any case. Good. And now you play knight b4. Just intuitively, the simplest for my money would be rook c4 or rook c8. You just take it. That's pretty good too. That isn't it. Good. Check the miserable king. Oh, man, you're playing a good game here. That isn't it. Ooh. Very nice game. Very nice game. All right, we're going to go through here. That was pretty cool. I want to give you full props for this game. And what's nice about that, well, there's a couple things that are nice. But even if I disagreed with some of it, what you were able to do is you had a strategic template with the d5 square, and you made it happen. Your opponent did not understand what was going on. He had no clue about what was going on with the whole ideas in the position. But that's going to be the case at this level. They're not going to know the positional ideas. And so the fact that you knew it and your opponent didn't know it was great. Also great, by the way, was the fact that you really took your time, where your opponent ran out of gas. What was it? Move 20, 29, 26 or something. Now, let's go to move 26. Just something for people to understand. When you're playing a stronger opponent and they get a bad position, they're going to fight like hell. This guy, you can see from the time graph, now he couldn't do it, right? And that's just something for you to bear in mind, because you're going to get a bad position someday too. It happens to everybody. And then you are going to be like, oh yeah, I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy who just gave up without thinking. All right, well done. Let's continue. We have Vertos. All right. He's going to the 1700 cohort, right, as suggested. 32, Brazil. Been part of the dojo for a while, but only started taking training seriously. Beautiful. He's passionate about coffee and boxing. Oh, I need some coffee help. In fact, I might need myself another coffee. I might even take a break here, because this is a long stream, to go get a coffee. And if you say to yourself, Kraai, you can't be taking a break. What are you doing? Well, he just mentioned coffee, dude. How am I supposed to not do some coffee if he's going to be talking to me about coffee? Clubs. Brazil. Nice. Oh, he's doing some chess content. There we go. All right, my games. We're going to do this game, and then I'm getting a coffee. That's what's going on. Actually, I might do a chai. We'll see. All right, so this 60-30 lead chess, we're going to say probably you move too fast. We're going to keep this time window open. Okay. 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 Doesn't look right. Yeah. Either knight e7 or bishop f3. This isn't no good. And now I hate this move, bishop a6. It has nothing to do with the bishop pair. It has everything to do with the fact that that knight is a chump. Okay? And this bishop is his good bishop, which we'd like to trade off. So either castles or knight d2. What I like about knight d2 is that anytime they play knight c5 after that, we're going to whack him with b4. Okay, you can even play b4 now. Say, knight, you're done. Queen d3, okay. Queen c8. Bishop d7, probably correct. Don't give him that bishop. Give you that bishop. Okay, I don't know why we're taking so hastily. gf6 is interesting, but okay, knight d2, castles. Rook b8. Rook b8's probably okay. Bishop e7 followed by f5 or bishop g5 looks great. Okay, now he starts to chump out with c5. Here. Simple plan for black. I think he's much better. Snip, snap. Rook ac1. Now this looks right, but I think both players aren't considering the ye old bishop g5 here, which could have landed on you. And now he goes bishop g5. And you say he didn't consider it. Yeah, well, that's where his bishop should go. I like c4. Notice that rook d8 was just a complete waste of time. There's did nothing. Okay, good. I like that move. I don't know what to do with him, but he's just wasting time in general, right? Reasonable. Doesn't do anything. Good. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to keep the time window open is I want you to see that right around here, you started moving too fast, and he's not doing that much better, right? This is a very complicated position. There's a lot to say here, a lot of tricks. All right, h4, do I like it? I don't know. Do we have an idea after this? f4. Well, that's interesting. Oh, I don't know about that. That's not it. That's not it, buddy. So f5, what is it? It's a complete collapse, right? It's a complete collapse. Goodbye. All right, now someone here in the notes, LG, talks about knight e7. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. All right. Well, you're completely winning, though, so we can't complain too much. All right. So, well done. That was great, dude. That was great. And we'll say that, you're getting to a high level now, and they're not going to be as easy as that guy. But that was a good game for us to think about, especially with the moves like bishop a6. Now, one of the nice things, if you're following this graduation show from the beginning, is if this were a game between some players under 1,000, I don't think I would yell at them for bishop a6. But now, when you get to 1,600, we're starting to get to a phase of the game where positional stuff matters more. And like the fact that we want to trade off this bishop. I'm thinking, too, in addition to knight d2, just simple bishop e3 and then knight d2, also great. Right? So simple chess like that. Okay. Well done. I think you're going up, Vertos. Now we got Anton. Excited for the free month trial. We'll make the most of it. Maybe that's why we got this going on. So we are running a free month. I think you can still get it. I don't know. It runs out. It runs out at some point in the very near future. If you do want to do it, you want to type in NY 25. I put that into the chat as your code to get a free month. I believe that's how it works. I think that's how it works. Okay, here's Anton, who's on the free month trial. I hope he's with us in February. He's in Greifswald. He's studying Politikwissenschaft. Okay, he enjoys reading chess books. He likes Under the Surface. I got that right behind me. He's got all these books. Okay, great. He's got a FIDE of 1684. Let's give Anton a follow. He's been at the dojo, marking down his stuff. Looks great. Clubs. Now, Anton, if you do stay with us in February, I make a plea that you start a club, a club in Greifswald, a dojo club in Greifswald. That would be really cool. All right, do we have games, Anton? He's got all kinds of games. In general, we want your games to be in all of the serious games you do into the My Games folder. He's got this. Oh my God, look at this. So this is a special folder. He's got this game just appeared. It's an OTB game. And by the way, this is totally acceptable if you just want to do your times. A lot of people, when they're doing OTB, they will just do their time. It's not that much work to get your opponent's time as well. But what I like about what he did, and you see a lot of players do this, is he just wrote down his time every 5 moves. That's why you get the staircase going on. Okay, so we'll mark this, and then we'll get into the game review. This is Anton playing black. So far, so good. Okay. Good. Well played. And so what is the idea? The second they commit to the knight going somewhere else, D2 or A3, that's when you can take, because now their knight can't go here anymore. Good move. I think you're playing good chess. And I'm not sure about knight C2. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm against it. You take. Good. Takes. Not the greatest. So now you've got a reasonable structure. Nothing wrong with your position. So you talk about queen B6. I think bishop E8 is also a very thematic move to go out the other way. That isn't it. That isn't it. Good. And now he goes for it. Now, this level of player finds it difficult to do anything else besides F4, F5. He's got to solve some other problems before that happens. All right, you now really go for it with G5. I love your move, bishop B5. It's just simple and strong. There's no need to go crazy. Just bishop B5. All right, this seems potentially madness. F5. Yeah, I don't like this. Check to the miserable king. And now bishop C4 exclam. Okay. Very interesting position. And the problem is your knight on H4 is problematic. Boom, boom, boom. I would want more analysis here. So was there other plans that you could have done? I feel like you're walking right into it now. Right? Because at the bare minimum, you're much worse now. Maybe you're lost. King F7. He goes knight C4. And here you spent, well, it doesn't, it says 14 minutes. But yeah, it looks like you went down to 29 minutes. Good move. And I guess you're in big trouble now. Now, are you in big trouble anyway? I think so. Because he is going to crack the blockade. Right? He's going to crack this blockade. So when you do the annotations, if you don't like a move, tell us what you think you should have done. Right? Knight d2 might be a very good move. And later, like, you're in a bad position here, but this would be a moment to analyze, to say, well, was it really like so bad I need to throw in the towel? Let's just talk about our options. Boom, boom, boom. All of these are viable things for us to think about, right? And Inkspot is also from Greifswald. Now, Inkspot, if you're in the dojo, I want you to make that club, buddy. And you know what? I deserved a tea, and I didn't get it. So I'm going to go get myself a tea. I'm supposed to not drink caffeine after this time in the day, but I like it too much. So I'll be right back. All right, my friends, we are back. I got my beautiful tea here. And this has been the longest graduation show ever. We had 38 people, but also loads of people who submitted games. Next up, we got Mr. Sheer Luck. Got my peak rating of 2052 just 10 minutes before New Year. Really happy about it. I've improved my openings for white and black. Currently, I'm preparing English as white and Owens as black. Once I have enough preparing for these two, I'll focus on my middle game. Great. Okay, cool. So, he prefers to play online. He's a software dude. Great. You want a job at the dojo, by the way, and you got some skills, even mild skills, bruv. I feel like this is what I feel. Our lead developer is a super GM coder. He is a super GM coder. He has a disdain of the AI. Now, he's rated 2800, looks on with AI with disdain. But we have all these little projects that he doesn't have the time for. Whereas if we got I feel like if we got a 1000 level coder, right, they can use AI, them plus AI they create those little things that we need. They give it to Jack, and Jack says, "Good enough, buddy," and we'll put it up on the site. Sorry, I interrupted your rap, buddy. Sorry about that. Thank you, Jack Stingline, New York 26. Thank you very much. I blew it. I'm not even aware that it's 26. That hasn't sunk in yet. And I was just talking about you, Jack. I don't know if you're still here. All right, this is Mr. Sheer Luck. We're going to give him a follow. I also want to go on a little rant here. So maybe somebody in the chat will give me feedback. Maybe Mr. Sheer Luck will identify with this. I have a student named Jamil. I've done loads of videos on him because we started off way back when he was like 1300, and I did all these little vids like Jamil makes 1400, Jamil makes 1500, and now he's made 2100 ChessCom. And the vid I want to do now, I want to call it something like the trap of 2100chess.com. I think I'm bringing this up because I think Mr. Sheer Luck is going to run into this problem. When you hit 2100 or 2000, that area, and you're trying to get better at real chess, let's say rapid, so 10-minute and beyond, you're going to run into so many cheaters that it's going to be very frustrating. In addition to that, you are going to have a problem where really to grow as a player, you're going to need to think deeply, and it's hard to think deeply when you're playing online. Studies have shown that. I've talked about it in different videos. So it's a real trap then that you have studied enough to get to this very high level like Mr. Sheer Luck has. And then it's going to be very hard to progress. And one of the psychological difficulties that Jamil has, that I think Sheer Luck probably also has, if I'm reading his business right, is that he doesn't want to play OTB. And then it's a real thing, because you can get good at blitz, like they're not cheating at 3-0. Some people are cheating at 3-2, but 3-0 they're not cheating. But when you get good at blitz, it's not really going to give you the depth of understanding that you need to really improve your chess skill. Happy graduation day to you too, beloved bookkeeper. Oh, beloved bookkeeper, I played that recent tournament. You weren't there. I was like, she's going to be there for sure. That's why I'm going. And then she doesn't even show up. How about that? Here's Mr. Sheerluck. Does he have some games? No games. Well, that's the next thing you need to do, Mr. Sheerluck. You need to play some games. All right, let's continue. Next up, we got JJ. The training plan is really helping me to keep consistency on my schedule. Beautiful. Now, see, he's got the FIDE going on. Wonderful. And he's got a great heat map. Looking really good. Yeah, this guy's bringing. He's also got he's in Canada. Does he got some Canada clubs? Tell us a little bit more about yourself. Maybe enter that Canada club. Do we got games? We got games. Now, there's one that's a little bit old, but we're going to take it from November. Do we got... Oh, we do. Look at that. So this looks like an OTB, and JJ did significantly better with the time management than his opponent. Let's leave it on the time management for a second. So... Okay. Little weird, but okay. I like it. I like it. I like it. And now knight g5 I don't like. The problem with taking on g5 is that you are developing the rook on h1. Right? That's the issue. So I think c4 makes sense. I think e6 makes sense. Yeah, okay. And now you can just go queen c2. Oh no. All right, so here we go. Queen c2, and this must have been his intention from the beginning, to just play, to whack him now with bishop f5. Now I think got a little confused because he was like, oh, I want to do it this way with knight takes g5 so that I do whack him with bishop f5. And now some extraordinary things happen. If white's going to take on f5, they can play queen c1. Honestly, I still like white after queen c1. But if they're going to take, they better know what they're doing. And this guy plays knight e5, which I'm not sure I get. Let's look at your variation. Queen d5, queen a1, queen b5. Amazing. And your queen's trapped. There's a, let's call it similar idea in the aggressive repertoire for white against the Caro Kann. So this is a nice find. Now maybe this was the computer find. Knight e5 though, he's playing it. I guess he had intended it already. He thought for almost 5 minutes here. And then here he plays this quickly. I don't get the idea though. I don't understand. And now castles. Okay. I don't know if there's an immediate reason why I don't like castles. All right. So yeah, queen a1 looks crushing. Now I'm going to guess that what you missed here was that you missed that when you take this guy, you actually communicate here. Right, which is important, otherwise he has the rook h7 ideas. Now it's a little scary because he's got the light squares. I mean, bishop g2 looks like it, right? I don't know what that is. He's a pawn gobbler. That looks like a good move. Good move. Yeah, it looks like he could have also done bishop f2. Yeah, queen d6 looks a lot more simple. Now, is this position winning? I don't know. I don't know. Well, I'm not sure I understand f4. E4, E5 looks very thematic for white. And that is a mistake of putting the pawn on the wrong color. Good. Now you got him. You got the dark square blockade, my friend. Welcome to the dojo. Oh, there we go. And I'm so happy I left the time thing open, because what happened is that White's mind ran out of gas there. You see that? Didn't have much cash to begin with. That was a complicated position, dude. That was very complicated. And besides the 1 5-minute think, followed by knight e5, he wasn't able to sustain it. Let's see, does this... So rated classical game. I guess it was online. Well, Dojo Open Classical. Yeah. Yeah. The gossip variation. I didn't know that. Give me a break, the gossip variation. Don't tell me that. All right, here we go. Facundo. I haven't been following Chess Dojo until now, but I'm going to from this point on. Great. Looks like Facundo maybe just joined, doesn't have any points. Did some tactics. 2200 Lee Chess probably doesn't have anything yet. We're going to give him a follow. Facundo, we hope to see you soon. Great that you're here. All right, bam. Sambola. We're going to give Sambola a follow. He just joined very recently. Not quite there. Let's see, you got some clubs. He's in the Philippines. Nice. And we got some games. Ba-bam. We got a time graph. We do. Now, do we know anything about this? So it's some kind of game on Lee Chess. And this is the time graph. Did they run out of juice? Of thinking juice? We're going to see. Let's leave this open. We'll mark this as reviewed, but we'll do this. E5 looks terrible. E5 looks god-awful. Now you get a good French. Now you played d4 and thought about it, but I don't know. We do know that after knight c6 your position is amazing. Whereas d4, I don't know quite what. Maybe I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Queen f3. Bishop b5 check is a thought. Knight b1 is dumb looking, but at least it prevents this queen d5 thing. I don't understand. Okay, I don't know why is okay. I don't think bishop b6 blows it for you in any way, though, right? b3, snip, d3. And now you go bishop f5. Bishop d5, excuse me. Good. Knight e2. f5. Holy moly, here we go. Oh no, things have gotten out of control. Oh my lord, look at this position. And then you're playing a madman over here. All right, so let's just take stock. Both sides realized that this was complicated, and we're thinking here. I could spend hours looking at that position that they were doing there. It looks to me like white is winning, though. That's just my superficial take. Now, king f7 was played. We should analyze knight h5. Knight h5, queen h4, something like that. Bishop takes b3. You know? Queen takes e5 after that. Because when he takes here, I think it's just a bad news situation. I don't like c3. I'm sure he had better than that. No, you are. I don't know. I don't. There's a lot of things that he's doing that I don't like. Good. 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 Whack. And you like it. It looks insane to me, but I guess I guess I can get down with it. Wow, okay. So weird play from both sides, but then some interesting moves by black. Bang. Welcome to the dojo. Yeah, buddy. And let's just say the obvious. Both players move 13 on. Let's go back to move 13. One of the things I just want to point out, these are some strong players, okay? And when you're playing online, people will stop thinking because it's so hard to think when you're online. This is part of the trap of what I'm calling the 2100. Kobe Fair, thank you very much for asking. It's actually New Year's 26. Jack Stenglein told me about that a half a second ago. And so I apologize for that. All you have to do is go to the dojo, chessdojo.org.club, whatever you want to do. We have multiple domains. And when you're signing up, you use that code for the free month. Oh, yeah. Okay. Random guy, please go to the dojo and either write me or Jack Stenglein over there, and we're going to set you up, bud. We need help. Now, I want to say that we have got so many people have said, oh, I want to help. And they don't help. They don't help, dude. They go off and away and they don't do nothing. So I'm very hopeful for you, Mr. Random Guy, especially the name, Random Guy. It really encourages me. Okay, so big point to take away. This is madness here. You're probably toast, but there's so much going on. Both players moving way too fast. All right, let's continue. Next up, we got Eric. He says, the most helpful is tracking the time as it keeps me accountable for hitting the target every day. And I think I hit 60 of my last 63 days. That's right. Aristotle says it. All right, so let's check out Eric. Beautiful. Look at that. Eric has been hitting it since November. We're going to give him a follow. He's 1,879 lead chess. USCF, similar rating. Good. Clubs. Now, Eric, maybe tell us something about yourself. And if you joined a club, that would help me identify kind of, I don't know anything about you. Here's the My Games. We got a game from November. Do we got times? We do. This is a 30 plus 20. At this level, we cannot be playing that fast. Let's just see if we got, here's, it's kind of a weird, let's see here. Let's just see if they're all like this. 30 plus 20, a little better. Same thing, what do you mean? They're all pretty recent, but it looks like he's an addict of the 30 plus 20. Yeah, they're all 30 plus 20. Let's just see if maybe some of the older ones weren't 30 plus 20. Oh, he's an addict of the 30 plus 20. Okay, so very important. We go back and we look at the training plan. Oh, at least he's got some homework from this guy, Vladislav. Great. Very important that when we look over here in games and analysis and we click on you over here, the minimum you should be doing is 60 plus 30. And think about it. You're doing this great analysis. You want to have the ability to go over moves and ideas that you actually had the time to think about, right? So I'm hoping we can get that going. I'd love to look at some of your games. I think the progress you've made here, that is a beautiful thing. All right, let's continue. We got Chess Tone and the Angry Ukrainian, and then I might be finally done. Chess Tone is doing it for real. And you can see he's got this OTB, 1914, converted from 1832 German rating. Hasn't been logging his stuff since March. Okay, so joined back in 24. Has graduated a bunch of times. And you can see he's got up 226 points. Amazing. All right, he's in the German dojo. Let's give this a click. No games. Oh, man. Yellow asks, how are the lectures going so far? Let's actually do a little update on that, actually. So, if we go live classes. So, we just started this week. And, it's really cool. I think eventually this page is going to go, is going to get crowded. But you can see that in terms of the lectures, the first one was done yesterday with David doing the Najdorf. And then we have these peer reviews, the sensei reviews. Beautiful thing. We're going to have to organize this, especially as we get more and more. I haven't talked to David how his lecture went. My own class with the game and profile review, I thought went great. JW asked, these classes will go on more than a month, right? I might give it a shot in February. My schedule is a little more free. Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's got a strong enough start that we can say that it will be going on for quite some time. And we're hoping to add more lectures, more people to come in and do lecture classes for us. We also want at some point to come up with like a yearly price for people who want to commit. But other than that, it's going well. There's some small things that a developer might be able to help us with. Yeah. But those are mostly small things at this point. We've got the bigger parts of this situation figured out, like the cool thing that we can have the recordings easily accessible. So if you miss it or, later you come to the dojo and you want to watch all the Najdorf classes, amazing, right? It's just there for you. Okay, we got one more, and that's the Angry Ukrainian. He says, I'm not sure I'm ready to graduate, but why not? I did like 30 classical games this year. Beautiful. He will try to put games analysis at least in here. Okay, let's see what's going on with the Angry Ukrainian. Okay. He does puzzles every day. ChessCom mostly. Stopped playing Blitz. He has a win and a draw against former world champions when he was very young. Okay, great. Let's give him a heart here so I'm following him. He was a little bit more active here in April. And he's doing the ChessCom Rapid thing. And like I said before, I think it's a trap. I think it's a trap because you're going to be playing so many cheaters there, and it's not good for your chess ultimately. It sounds like, though, you're also doing OTB. Do we got some games? We got loads of games. So these are all, I think these are all online games. Let's click on this one. What time control are we dealing with? 1 plus 30. Okay. It's a Elite Chess ladder game. Now, I'm going to leave the times open. One thing I want to stress is that players, even if they're very strong, get distracted and make impulsive decisions when they're playing online. It's one of the traps. And you can see here that both players, they stop thinking here. Maybe someone's up a piece. I don't know. But it's hard to think when you're online. Okay, why not? Why not? Okay. Good. Fine. Fine. Obviously, e4 is also a move. b6 I don't like. e4 looks like a good move. a6 looks like a good move. Good move by white. Okay, boom, boom. And now b5. And I guess we're in trouble, huh? e4, snip, snip. And now, yeah, some kind of gf3 looks good for white. The bishop here, amazing. It looks terrifying. But he does this instead. Now we get this position. Okay, so still looks like a nice position for white. Good move. And now you give a variation with d3, which looks like the most natural move to me. And now f4. Now, I don't know anything about f4, but I don't know why we play f4. I think, like, let's just say we play a natural move like h3. I would say white should still be a little bit better. All right, so he takes, which seems criminal. Seems criminal to take that thing. That's his idea. We go e6, which I'm not sure I understand. Is it because we want to control c8? All right, this happens. This happens. Rook c8, that's his idea. And now you miss rook c4, right? Now, this is a precise moment where we can just look at the clocks and say people have stopped. They've stopped angry Ukrainian. So I want to stress, like, where you're at. You're obviously a very strong player, and you're having trouble playing OTB. There's a gazillion reasons why you wouldn't do it. But where you are in your chess development, it's going to be really hard to progress online because the cheaters, number one, and number two, because it's just harder to think when you're online. Right? If you think, you might find rook c4. All right, f5. Thank you very much, right? Boom, 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 boom. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Blunder. Yes, sir. And that's absolutely true. This is in general. Sometimes I'm sure there's exceptions, but in general, with the outside passer, it's going to be completely lost for white. Looks good so far. G6 worries me a little bit, but it should be fine. All right. Yep. Oh, I don't know what he's doing. In any case, it is now crispy critters for this guy. Well, he should resign. Okay. Angry Ukrainian. Well done. I hope you hear my words about the trap. I'm going to make a video on it. That's my goal here. That's my goal, to do a video about the trap when you're 2100, around 2100 ChessCom, right? That's the trap. Because you've reached an upper ceiling, I think, of what you're going to be able to get. All right, my friends. So, that was a long stream. I've been doing this for ages. I had to do a catch-up stream from Christmas. And then we had this thing going on. We're going to do a raid. I never know who to raid. Let's raid the famous... Should we do the famous Zef Cat?